أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Halan wa salam bikum. To my Fulbe community, Anjarama as-salam, Jautali. My dear brothers and sisters, today, all Africans everywhere you may be, talk about a topic to help guide you. There's a lot of scholarship and a lot of banter, and there's a lot of things in Facebook and in YouTube in reference to the war that is taking place between Iran and Israel. This war has opened up the Ummah Islamiyah in that it asked the question of the Ummah, should we support the Shia in Iran? And we've had a lot of banter across, but I have not seen one scholar yet, or even students of knowledge, have given their tacit authority claiming that they should, and I'll tell you why. Again, I've been guiding you this way. But it's been opening up something to help us as Muslims, as Africans, that we have guidance. We have a Nabi, alayhi salatu salam, who give us the guidance, who helped us. We've gotten away from that. And all of us fall short of that. We've gotten away from that. We forgot this guidance that he helped us to understand who we should follow and who we should walk away from. So I'll give you this evidence again today, and I'll leave it up to you. But let me say this to you. The best thing that you can do in this turbulent time, I don't care if you're in the United States or if you're here on the continent or you're in Europe or wherever you may be, you find a good student of knowledge or a scholar, mufti, or qadi, anyone grounded on the Quran and the Sunnah, and you follow him and get your Islam from him. Because we are in the times now where you can't depend on groups. You just cannot. And I'll talk about that. And this is why the Nabi alayhi salam talked about the 73. We forgot about that, haven't we? He's given us guidance in that regard. We have people now joining everything that they should be. And let me preface this again by saying this, give you the evidence. Stay away from any of the groups, Islamic, who claims national da-da-da, or Republican da-da-da, or Democratic da-da-da, or whatever the situation may be. Stay away from any of these Islamic groups because they'll send you to the fire. Because they're not champion subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're not champion our Nabi alayhi salatu salam either. So let's honor some of our guests here we have today. We see who we have here. Walaikum salam. Thank you very much, my dear brother, for showing up today. I really appreciate that. And it's great to see you again, as usual. Thank you very much, my dear brother, for showing up. And you know, brothers and sisters, we've had this contention about by greetings. You know, I've had, can you believe this? I even had Muslims to tell me they shouldn't have to greet anybody. And I have reservations that they're Muslims because we know that the Muslims and Africans in particular greet. I don't care if they're Muslims or not. I don't care if they're Jew or whomever. Africans from time immemorial always have a greetings for somebody, even if it's in the Akan language, akwaba, meaning welcome. See, we are so universal and so loving as a people, irrespective if we are Muslims or not, or Jews or Hebrew or others. But we're so loving and caring. So we always give greetings. suddenly I have people come to me telling me, well, you shouldn't tell us to do this. And I question if these people are actually Muslims or not, but that's another story altogether. And we have here, okay, show this, okay, no, where's this brother's, okay. Oh, thank you very much, my dear brother. Please give us your greetings. Thank you very much for the encouragement. Thank you very much, my dear brother. Please give us your greetings as well, because this is something that is African. We should have this, and Muslims are ordered to do it. See, there's something that we are ordered to do. And I forgot myself to give greetings. I'm sorry, excuse me. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Lil Ikwani Fati fi Din. Salamu alaikum. Mani Tabahuda Lil Ikwani Fati fi Africa, Europa, America, Asia, Caribbean, Wakuli Makan. Okay, my brothers and sisters. Now let's get into this. I read something, I think was entitled kind of like Against Me. A brother, I love him dearly. And he has a hell of a lot of knowledge, no doubt about that. But he was trying to tell us that if you go back to the past, we may be subject to grave worshiping or ancestral worship. And this is not true. And I'll give you something about this. It's funny when Black people, Black Americans, Africans on the continent, when we give history about other people, we never see other Africans come to us, whether in America anyway, and start talking about grave worshiping or ancestor worshiping. When we start to talk about the great Greek, Latin historians, and we start to praise them, we start to do this and that, you don't never see anything. But as soon as we as Africans start to look back to our past, in this instance, the sultanates of the Fulani, and then now all of a sudden here's grave worshiping allegations. Here is ancestor worshiping. But if I sit here and talk about the Chinese or the Japanese and their history, you wouldn't see that and hear that. But when I talk about another Black man, my ancestors, then suddenly it's grave worshiping. It's not right. But thank you very much, my brother and sister, for showing up and everything. And I'm gonna tell you something. One reason why I'm a stickler about this is because I'm looking at all the danger and all of the malfeasance and everything that's going on around us. We have Africans champion democratic ways and means. We have Africans champion communist ways and means. We have Africans champion, anything, mixing Islam with everything else. We have all of this. Then we have the Tubab and their security apparatuses who are also involved. We have all of this now. And we're not, so we don't know what to follow. And because of the way the world is running, we don't have time to study anymore because we're worried about how we're going to put food on the table for our children. So we are bombarded in YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and everything else with a lot of innovations and a lot of misinformation. And this is what we are going by. Our ancestors, and I'm going to talk about the Messina because why? The Messina was so accomplished. What it had done in a matter of 400 years on and off is something to behold. And our Fulani ancestors were great. Those who were inside Timbuktu, all of the scholarships were great. I'm going to get into a topic about one in particular Fulani scholar. Brothers and sisters, when I read his documents in the Arabic language, because you got to remember something, our Fulani scholars read and wrote and in Arabic language, and also for Fuldi. The Messina's lingua franca was Arabic. Then for Fuldi and other dialects, Sinike, and Wolof and so forth and so on. But everybody spoke Arabic. I'm going to talk about, inshallah ta'ala, one Fulani scholar. And now I understand why our African ancestors, whether well before Islam, how they saw up into the space. You guys stay into this, inshallah, okay? I have been asking Subhanahu wa ta'ala a question about this. I want to know how men and women, thousands of years ago, they did not have the books. They did not have the modern equipment. They didn't have they didn't have iPhones and iPads. They didn't have any of this. And they created obelisks or monuments in reference to what they know up in the space. And the Europeans came everywhere they found them, they came and took them. And I did a class I showed you the ships that were taking these things from our ancestors, because they did not want the world to know that we had been visited or we had some extraordinary knowledge about the outer space. They didn't want that. That's the same as it is with today's way it is today. The Tubab will go to everybody here in Morocco and tell them, this man over here, this black man, oh man, let me tell you something. These black people in America, they can't read and write. It's the same thing. This is genocidal, racist, white man's burden supremacy thing that they still got today. So when they find Africans with scholarship, they go to make sure they destroy it. They took those monuments that is from Morocco all the way down to South Africa. How is it that all of these Africans at this time had this particular knowledge before the Europeans even came around them? Now I understand how, and I'll get into that at another time. So stay tuned, brothers and sisters, on this, because you should understand that. Because now I'm going to talk about something very, very, very deep. So that's inshallah ta'ala. Now back to our ancestors. In the Messina had different names for their sultanates. Dola Sise, Dola Alhamdulillah. Translate this into the Fulfulde languages, it'd be Dola Jem. And they had also Dola Jihad. Now we get into that. Our brothers did not want no innovations around them. Our Fulani scholars and our sultans, our sultanates, our sultans, and the populace, when they had groups of people who want to introduce, like we have today, introduce innovations, they fought them. They fought them. When a group came with a false scholar to try to get the Messina to change away from the Quran and Sunnah, they would listen to this man and they will ask, where's your Burhan? Where's your Hujjah? They'll ask, where's your proof, and so forth in English. Where is it? When they brought a particular verse out of the Quran, they said, this is not what is said. They bring their own scholars who will be listening, and they will debate this, and they will find this man is a liar. In many instances, they're thrown, banished from the Sultanate. In rare cases, they may be killed, according if they made Oper Kufr in front of the Sultan, telling him to adopt something that would bring him to the hellfire. So our ancestors are very particular about this. They also knew, and they knew of the 73 Islamic groups. The 72, many of them are killing us today in the Ummah. They're killing us. And we have not studied, and it's by design, because even within the Ummah, we have the hypocrites who are running our nations today. They want to make sure that the scholarship is suppressed, because they don't want you to examine their roles in the 72 deviant sects of Islam. Our sultanates, the Messina in particular, there's the great Pulo, there's others we have. The Hapular, you heard me talk about them, are great, beautiful, beautiful Hapular sultanate. that we had. We had our ancestral brothers were so pious brothers and sisters. Why I love them so much, why I pray for them, why I have tears when I pray to ask Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for their forgiveness. Because they went their lives under the Quran and Sunnah. They stayed away from a lot of the stuff that we see today. And why myself, I stay away from all of these 72 groups. There's no Jamaat Islamiyah anywhere in Morocco or any other place, in Egypt, sitting in Sudan. I will not join them. Because I know what they are about. They're one of the 72. And I'll get into that. Our sultanates were so strict on this that they will look at when a new group was trying to form within the sultanate, they had people watching. The Hezbollah police would watch them to see what they were doing. And in the Messina, they were always being infiltrated by other ethnic groups who claimed to be Muslims, and they would try to come into the Messina and try to get the Muslims, the Fulani that's there, to get away, just like we have today, get away from the Quran and Sunnah and try to introduce things. Yesterday, brothers and sisters, and it's not off topic. Here's what I was talking about. I went to Salat al-Asr, and I see this. You heard me talk about this many times. This is everywhere. Even when I went to Sudan, as great as Sudan was at that time, with all this scholarship, things going on inside the masjid were just, a lot of it was atrocious. Yesterday, I go in as usual, and they drove all our brothers gone. All the brothers are out. They drove them out. And now we have miscreants, mujrimeen, and Salibiyin from the Salibiyin are crusaders. That's what we call them in the Arabic language under fiqh. Salibi is one, Salibiyin is many. They have taken over the masjids. They bring all this innovation in there. I go in there, I come late. I saw all kinds of stuff going on. They didn't even know how to pray right. So I tried to correct them very polite. I got to finish my prayer. I go to a group of them. I said, look, I saw you come in, and the imam was already down in sajda, in Arabic meaning prostration. I saw you do this, and I saw you only give one takbir, which is wrong. So they start to argue with me and tell me, no, I don't go by what you tell me. I said, look, I got proof here. I got proof. If you don't want to listen to me, I got proof here. Some listened, the others did. And one old man who's much older than me was standing next to me. I saw him. So I asked him about this. He didn't want, he just dismissed it. So I said, well, what did you know about the salat? And he said, no, you only give one. That's not true. Because you have to give, I don't want to get into deep, fiqh. I gave a class on this about 2 years ago. But when you come to the line and you see the imam, he's down in kneeling position, or he's down in the sajda position, you go Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Now you proceed down. Some of these guys, there are 10 of them, waited for the imam to finish being from ruku down to sajda, I mean kneeling to prostration, to come up. That's wrong too. That they get this from the Salibiyin, from the embassies who introduced this type of innovations in the masjid. So they start to ignore it. So I had a group of young guys over here. They refused. They said, no, I'm not going to have this. That's a lie. I said, look, here's the proof here. Here's Bab Salat here. Here's the under Tirmidhi. Here, he was around the Prophet ﷺ. Look at this. You don't want to believe me? Look what it says about the Salat. They didn't want that. This is what I'm talking about. This type of stuff now is killing us. These guys said they're Muslims, but they refused when I said, this is the way the Prophet prayed. And Nabi ﷺ, they refused that. He said, no, I'm going to continue to do like this. So I let it go. Our ancestors, the Messina, would have took their heads. If they would have came inside the masjid with this type of innovation and try to fight the students of knowledge and the scholars and the imam, and who come to correct them and say, hey, look, you come inside the masjid, you're supposed to do this. You see me give the iqama, meaning to come to prayer. We don't want you sitting in the back here praying. I have this all the time. I see this. People back in the back making nafila prayer while the imam is doing the fard prayer. We have all of this. They would have took action on them. But we don't have that today. And this is what I'm talking about. Now, Oh, my dear brother here is here. How you doing, my dear brother Mustafa? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. Thank you very much, my dear brother, for showing up today. Appreciate that. Now, let's backtrack here. Why are the 72 groups so dangerous for us today? Brothers and sisters, the Messina was operating under what we call the deviation Mansura. This is in Arabic language, talking about the saved sect. This is the translation in English. This is a whole, I gave a class on this some years back, and I had a lot of backlash because, again, we have the enemies inside. They don't want to hear that. They want to do the innovations. And again, what did the Prophet talk about the innovations? He corrected us by telling us, he said, you introduce misguidance. You introduce innovations. There's no such thing as good misguidance. There's no such thing as good innovations. He said, you will go to the fire. So when you come to me and tell me that you are not going to pray according to the prophet, you're going to innovate, he's telling you this is going to lead you to the fire unless you change, repent from that. The Messina operated in a strict accordance to the Sunnah. Any groups that deviated from that, they fought them, drove them out of the Dola. Dola, nation in Arabic, also in Fulani, we also have adopted this type. Dola, Sensei, Dola, Jam, or in Fulani, but Alhamdulillah, they would have drove them out. See, so our ancestors were strict. That's why I go back to read and try to understand them, because this is going to help us for today. I see all of this is happening. Our prophet ﷺ talked about this. He said these 72 groups, and I'll get into that, are going to be dangerous. And he had something that he said about them that you should be aware of. And why now this war should wake you up to look at your Islam and say, what am I following? And now we started to have a lot of our student knowledge coming through YouTube now, Facebook, and starting to correct the people, which is good because we have a lot of stuff going on. Now, let's start this. I got this translated in English language for you so you can understand. But when I gave this class before, it was in Arabic language, but I'm translating to the English. I want you to look at something. Look at what the Nabi said about this. He said, my ummah will be divided into 73 sects. All of them will be in a fire. Listen to this, my brothers and sisters. And then proceed and look at the list. This is some of them. I'll get into the others after this too. All of them will be in the fire except one, he says. Then the Sahaba asked him, which one will be that? He replied, the one that follows what I and my companions are right now. You understand this, brothers and sisters? Look at the group that's down here that all of our scholars from every era have identified that are who are tearing up, have tore up the Ummah Islamiyah for many centuries. Look at number 2. It's the Shia. I have talked to you, and to lead you to this point, I've had even Fulani brothers live it with me because they want to support them. I say, you do what you want to do, but I'm telling you now, you should not do it. And I didn't want to get deep into this. And I see them, and I'm shocked. I've looked at some of these guys, and some of them even writing in Facebook is wrong. We even have some, I know we have student knowledge, they're probably under pressure. They were very apologetic and so forth and so on, but they should correct the people because why? Our Prophet ﷺ said that these 72 groups are deviant. And the main groups are these 8 here. Now you see this, brothers and sisters. This is what our scholars have come up with. And it's been verified over and over each era. And in Arabic language, the saved sect is the Daifatun Mansura. This is what he's talking about, what we have identified, what we've called this, which is very difficult to be part of, because you have to, this is going to come, brothers and sisters. You heard me talk about this many times. It's going to come. This saved sect will come, and there will be one preceding it, run by a Black African Muslim, strong Muslim. You brothers who are young men now are marrying, maybe from your loins, from your children, may be him. I do not know. But when this brother come to take over this, and all of Africa will be essentially a sultanate. They will be under this Daifatun Mansura. They will be so pious. They will carry the ways of our Fulani ancestors who are running all these sultanates from 711 to the 1900s. He will be in that mode, and he'll mean business. It won't be anything where they be compromising, where you'll have the Hezbollah police inside the masjids when these idiots come in to the masjid and try to tell the students of knowledge that they will not follow the Prophet ﷺ. Can you believe that? This here in itself is Ridda and Deen. When you reject that of the Prophet ﷺ, which is, remember, Nawaqid al-Islam Ashra. There's conditions in there talk about this issue where you have a man tell you in your face he will not follow the Prophet. So I asked him yesterday before I left, I said, why are you here? I said, why are you in? Because he's here because of Salih from the embassy, U.S. embassy, paid him to come into the masjid. I said, why are you here? You will not pray as the Prophet prayed. This is what we're talking about. Part of the 72, part of this. Now, number 3 is the Khawarij. If you know the history, the Nabi ﷺ talked about in a chilling hadith. He talked about how this one man, from his loins, he will create a deviant group that will stay all the way to Yom Qiyamah. These are the Khawarij, number 3. You should be very familiar what happened with that, because they were the ones, you remember what happened, who slayed a couple of our Amir Mu'mineen, and they wreaked a lot of havoc through the Ummah shortly after the Prophet ﷺ died. These Khawarij here. The characteristics of the Khawarij are those of this. You'll be surprised about them. You'll see them even on the street. You see them in the masjid. You see them reading the Quran, memorizing the Quran. You see them talking as pious Muslims. But when you go to their Aqidah is exact opposite. It's evil. Their Aqidah is to fight the people like us, me, the students of knowledge, and all of the devout Muslims, to fight them, but to have love and reverence to the disbelievers. That's why they align themselves with those out of the embassies, why they align themselves with all deviant groups to fight. Yes, you see them in the front line of the masjids. You'll see them even as imams. They're Khawarij, because they fight the Muslimin and they fight the Ummah, but they portray themselves as being pious, when in fact they're not. Many of them are Hafiz, meaning they have memorized the Quran. But you know their Aqidah. When you see a strong, devout Muslim come inside, they go to immediately to fight him. But on the street, they see a man smoking. They don't go after him. They see a man drinking. They don't go after him. They see a man and woman kissing on the street. They don't go after that. They see Salih being walking around, going after women when they shouldn't. They don't touch them. But when they see a man with a turban, they know him to be a student of knowledge, or he's a scholar, he's a Sheikh Islam. All of a sudden they go to fight him. This is the Khawarij. This is the Khawarij, number 3. I'm giving you so you'll understand some of the characteristics, some of the worst ones. The Morjia, number 4. Let me tell you about them, brothers and sisters. They were part of the Khawarij. Number 4, the Morjia. The Morjia have this weird concept, meaning that they over on one side, you have faith. We know as Iman, right? Imaniya, Islamia. They have this. But then on the other side, it's sin. Khafiyat in Arabic language. They believe that as long as you read the Quran, as long as you make your prayers, as long as you utter the 99 names of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, as long as you live a life of that is supposed to be pious, it allows you to make adultery. It allows you to sell drugs. It allows you to kill. It allows you to steal, rob, cheat the people. As long as you go back to make your prayer, you're okay. This is the Morgia. This is why, brothers and sisters, you should be very careful about what you join. It may sound good on the surface. Many people like the Morgia because why? They said, well, hey, man, I like these guys. I can go make my 5 daily prayers in the masjid, but I can go into town after the last prayer and go and find a woman for the night and go sleep with her. So I'm giving you these things, brothers and sisters, for you to understand. Our ancestors fought these groups. When they came around them, they fought them. Now, the Shia did not come further south. The Shia stayed in North Africa, but they were beaten, and then they were driven back over to the east, where they had gotten into Egypt and also Tunisia. But that's another story altogether. But they didn't in Maghreb. They tried their best, but they were thrown out. They were beaten, and many of them were killed, and so forth and so on. But the Shia started to try to make south, but they went into what is called Bilad es-Sudan, the land of the black folk. When they came down to the land of black folk, they ran into the Messina. And you know our brothers, I told you how they were. They were meticulous. I'm telling you, they were meticulous. They were pious. They can smell hypocrite a mile away. When they sent the black face who was Shia down into there, they smelled this. They went back up north and said, hey, we can't go further south into Bladis, the land of the black folk, into the Messina and other who were running the shows, because they knew there they had no foothold. And the people would turn them in because they were running the Sharia law. So we have this. Let me see our brothers here. We got here, oh, my dear cousin. Wa alaikum salam, my dear cousin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing up today. I really appreciate that. And we have weak Hadith boys. Okay, I don't know what you mean, what you're talking about here. I'm gonna, please give me your greetings. I see you got another thing here. Please give your greetings here about this. And we got his comment here. Correct, he does not have all of them going in hellfire except one. No, I haven't got into that yet. I'm talking about now. We have a tafsir. We have the hadith as it is, but the tafsir has been told, and I haven't got into that, but I'm giving you the basis of that and so forth. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, they were trying to say, it's not talking about the hellfire meaning, but it can lead to that. Not saying that you are destined to that. If you go join an Islamic group today and say they are deviant, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can go to the hellfire, but it can lead to the hellfire. Why? Because in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he went and gave the stinging hadith about offering misguidance. Misguidance leads to innovations. Innovations lead you to the fire. Now, that is not a weak hadith. Now, if you say that is, I'm going to drive you out because that's a lie. This is a confirmed hadith. So this is what you have to understand. So when you come here and throw this, you won't let me finish. You want to show me the knowledge you have? Well, you should have put the other stuff in there. That the Prophet ﷺ give us directions. Now, if you have 72 groups who are offering innovations and offering misguidance, he gave the hadith to give you the tafsir to tell you if you introduce misguidance, if you introduce innovations, you're going to the fire. So I'm not going to have your stuff. Either you come with the A game and you come up with stuff that's right. This is Islamic course here now, or I'm going to run you. And you better give me your greetings. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. If you don't greet, I'm going to throw you out. I don't play with this type of stuff like this. The people come here, they don't because they're provocateurs. They come into the show here and they want to introduce something to try to play games. And so we don't want to have that. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to get into this a little bit more here. We have also now, each way we turn, brothers and sisters, why this is important. We have secret societal groups paid for and orchestrated by Western powers. They're in the Muslim lands today. Why you have to be careful of these groups. And don't listen to this guy who wrote here talking about this weak hadith. He's trying to get you to say, no, you go and join one of these 72 groups and you're okay. I just gave you the tafsir. He made me jump early because I don't want him coming here to misguide anybody. When our Nabi gives us a tafsir and tells us, he says, don't innovate, meaning don't give misguidance to the people. Don't lead them to innovations because it'll lead you to fire. What is that? What is that umr? What does that mean? So we have to go by what our prophet says. And this is why you hear this guy here. You say, tell me, no, not all of them go to the fire. See, here we go again. This is what I'm saying. They're trying to get you out, away from going to try to drive you to the deviant Mansur, the best of the groups. He wants you to go into the 72 groups, one of them, and so forth, and lay in misguidance. Now, in Muslim lands who work in secret, they ferret out strong Muslims. They're everywhere, brothers and sisters. Please, this is one of these guys, I believe, who wrote this. I believe he's one of them. They work in secret to ferret out devout Muslims, and then they try to discredit you by telling you, oh, no, hey, the prophet, yeah, he talked about the 72 groups, but no, the hadith stands. The tafsir of it is different, okay? And that's where I had not had the chance to get into it. Now, in the United States, this secret societal groups within governments, they recruit imams and troubled Muslims like this guy and paid him to spy and subordinate perjury, meaning they'll see people like me and they'll say, look, you see this guy here? They perjure themselves in a statement saying, this guy here, this Yahya, I saw him. This is what he did. I saw him with 5 or 6 women over here. I saw him following a girl out on the street. This is what we're talking about. Brothers, I have to talk like this because these are the groups that we have today. They will pay you to join their groups and dare you subordinate perjury, where you'll go and you'll lie on behalf of the Tubab coming out of the American embassy and forge a document saying that you saw a devout Muslim do something. These secret societies, they even have the nerve to call themselves Fulani Muslimin. And why you should avoid them. Now, the false groups that I'm talking about are in the issues of fiqh we call al-harbi. They're really disbelievers who work in Muslim lands, encouraging innovations and corruption of the Quran and the Sunnah. In the messages of Allah especially. Now you understand why I jumped this guy. They will push you to join a group of the 72. They will push you to do innovations in the masjid. They will push you to join groups like the El Harbi, who were ordered to fight. I gave a class on this about the El Harbi. Those are those who fight and kill Muslims, who are at war with Muslims, the Americans, the French, the British, the Australians. I mean, the list goes on. And they send their agents to work as Muslims, but then in fact, they're not. And they encourage and they try to find weak Muslims and others to join them to introduce innovations. This is why the 72, why you have to be very careful. And you have to understand your religion so you can see how things operate and how you avoid this. When somebody come to you and they tell you no, you join one of the 72 groups. Brother, sister, you go investigate that. When you start, if you get behind a good student of knowledge or a good scholar, he will look at this guy and say, okay, I see what you wrote here. And then you would ask him, well, how does he reconcile with the Nabi alayhi salam give in Hadith about these innovations and misguidance? Where he said leading you to the fire. It's not saying that you will go there, because we do not know the what we call the, in English, karma. We don't know if this guy who was doing the innovations, what if he goes and makes Toba? See, down the road, we do not know this. But if you continue this path, it can lead you there. And this is what we talked about. But this is why it's so important, brothers and sisters, that we have to talk about issues like this. Wait a minute. I got something here. Okay, we have, I don't know who this guy is here. I'm starting to see here, I'm not going to, these two are both trolls. I agree with you fully, because when a Muslim refused to give greetings to another Muslim, that tells you something, doesn't it? That tells you something. So we will, and they have done something here, brothers and sisters. There we go. Okay, and now we have this other one. This is the type of thing here. This guy having a very important question. He refuses to give salam to the people here in the chat. I'm sorry. It's finished here. Now, brothers and sisters, it's unfortunate we have to do things like this. And I see some other ones here. Brothers and sisters, please give your greetings when you come into the chat. Please, I really appreciate that. You should do this because it's required of you to do this. Please do that. Now we have, we got here, my dear brother, how can you claim that your sect is a proper? Wait a minute, what are you talking? No. Okay. Now let's go. I'm not going to play here. Are you doing what we got here? Okay. Now we got one more person here. Let me see here. We got look at the crime of those in hell with sex. I don't, maybe somebody can see what he's writing here. I don't understand. And brother, please give your greetings. Okay. I'm going to entertain what you say here. But I'm please give your greetings. If you're going to offer another comment, if you don't, I'm not going to put up with it. I'm sorry. Now, look at the pure religion. I don't know what you mean by pure religion. The crime of those in hell is sex and alcohol. No, I don't. Sex and alcohol doesn't lead you to the fire per se. Because what if you repent and you stop? See, no, this is wrong. Okay. Now, person, I give you example of what I'm talking about. A long time ago, and I'm going to entertain the brother's comment here. When I became a Muslim, there was a situation that happened where we had a brother at the masjid, right? He fell into sin. He met a young Mexican girl. This is in California, and he began to have relations with her, even though he was married. The masjid started to learn of his infidelity, but he didn't care. He continued to see this girl because she was working at the same work as him. Well, he got killed. It was alleged that his wife was confronting him about the girl. Okay, she's a young woman. He's in his 30s or 40s, I think, at the time, and she was 18, 19, and she fought him and told him to, or else. He said he was going to go and break it off. He went with the girl, and they had a car accident. Both were killed. He died while still involved sexually with this girl. Now, we do not know what Subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do with the angels of death when they question him. But he died in the state of infidelity. Same with alcohol. A brother who said, I'm going to repent on Jummah. He drinks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he's drunk. Thursday night, he's getting ready to go home. He said he's going to repent in the masjid on Friday. But he's been drinking. Suddenly he walks home from the corner or where he's with his boys drinking beer. and a car hits and kills him. He's in a state of this sin of drinking. So this is, again, brothers and sisters, a lot of issues that we as Muslims have to look at. And we don't have enough of this type of talk to get us going, to help us. And we should. So I'm going to go back to this here again. We have, see, now, and do not be like the ones who divide. You see why I ran this guy? Who divide and differ after clear proofs. Clear proofs, brothers and sisters, again, inside the masjid. They came inside the masjid, and it was over 10 of them, all followed one another, and they offered a salat that was now corrupted. They saw the imam down in the prostration. Some half stayed there and waited, didn't even give takbir at all, waited for the imam to come up. The others went down and gave only one takbir, which is wrong. When I questioned them about this, again, they refused to listen to that. Even I gave them the proofs. I said, look, if you want to read this, they refused. They were going to go ahead and do exactly what they wanted to do as far as salat. This is what we're talking about. And here's what it says here. This is from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's word. Those who have they will have a great punishment. Here you have the proof. You have a student of knowledge come to you and say, Yahya, please, when you come into the masjid and you see the imam who's down in prostration, please give your takbir, give 2, because you have to, and I covered this class before. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Now you proceed down as the imam has proceeded. He's down at sajda. Even if he's been down there for 1 minute, you still follow him. But you have to give Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar twice. These guys were telling me yesterday it was wrong. You don't have to do that. You can stand and wait for the imam. One of them told me you can stand and wait for the imam to finish. Then you can now join. This is what I'm talking about. See, so it's on what you guys want and how you want to do it. My ummah will be divided to 73 sects. All of them will be in the fire except one. That is the Jama'ah. Now, again, we have many explanations from our scholars. And they gave an explanation again about the fire, meaning, brothers and sisters, if you were in a group and they were innovating, and suddenly you got out of it and you repented from that. See, this is why when you see this, you have to go back to the proofs. You don't come onto a show like mine and then try to say, oh, look, there's another hadith. No. This hadith stands. But the tafsir of it is where you have to look. This is what we have. This is what we're talking about. And the Prophet gives you directions how you can fight that. Indeed, those who have divided their religion and become sects, okay? Tahfiyah, this is what we know in Arabic, are not associated with them in any way. See, this is, again, brothers and sisters, if you look at this, I'm giving you just brevity because, I don't have all day to do this, but I'm giving you something so you can look. All of the deviancies that we see today, you please be careful, brothers and sisters. I can't stress this. Our Nabi was very particular about this. He's not going to be associated with anything like that. Their affairs left only with Allah, and He will inform them of what they used to do. This is why I say it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous, brothers and sisters. Very, very dangerous. And and we talked about this hadith about the blind following, like what happened yesterday in the masjid. These guys followed because the other man was older. He was older than I am. They follow what he did, so they follow him. This is blind following. Don't have no knowledge. Just they follow somebody and don't even understand what they're doing. Now, here is the kicker. Differing is not permissible in the affairs of belief. See? And the foundation of religion is obligatory to have agreement and unity among these matters. Now, when you have a differing point in fiqh, matters of fiqh regulations, then this can occur. We have scholars who differ on like Fajr prayer on certain issues, not introducing kufr, but they have different interpretations of that. We have that. But even that, we go by, but even here, one must take only the sayings that are supported by proofs. Again, if you have a student of knowledge come to you and says, Yahya, look, over here at our masjid, when we see the imam down in prostration, we only give one takbir, Allahu Akbar, one time. I have to show him proof in the Bab Salat that he's wrong. See, this is what we do. We don't use emotion to start yelling at them. No, you give them proof. If they reject it, it's on them. As the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, okay, they will be examined. And Subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell them what they were doing. And that's why it's dangerous. Now, Nabi ﷺ, we have this, and this is my path, which is straight. So follow it. Do not follow other paths. Again, we look at the 72. The 72 follow different paths, but each one believes that they're following the right path is getting you to, will get you to Jannah. The Nabi ﷺ says, no, it is not. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you here, okay, in An'am 153 is the verse about this. I have to, again, alert you to this element. And why it's important, brothers and sisters. This is my path, which is straight, so follow it. Not meaning you follow everything I say. If I go to tell you, look, when you enter outside, you give takbir. Then you come to me and say, Shaykh, please, where'd you get that from? You question that. I said, anytime you leave the house, you come outside and you give takbir. You should come to me and say, where'd you get the proof of this? I never heard that. Can you give me the proof from, this is what we're talking about. Do not follow other paths, for you will be separated from his path. Again, the guy said, oh, no, you can follow the 72 and it won't lead you to the fire. Here, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, it'll separate you from my path. So now you have that. I'm giving you this, and brothers, I'm giving this background because I want this in modern times. I'm going to get back to our ancestors here in a minute. Now, here's the other. I did exactly what I'm ordered to do. And if you disagree over anything, refer it to Allah and his messenger, alayhi salatu salam. If you believe in Allah in the last day, this is the best way and best end result. Now you understand why I confronted these men, innovators, yesterday at Salata Asr. And the older one, who was older than me, walked away and threw his hand, said he is not going to listen to what I had to say. It's wrong. They followed his lead. And I said, brother, what you have done here is wrong. You cannot do this. You have to give, and I was talking to him in Arabic. I told him you have to give the right, you got to give 2 takbir. And you just can't go and do this. And the others standing waiting for the imam to finish. I said, this is wrong. And the others agreed with this old man. I gave the proofs. If you disagree over anything, refer to Subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger, alayhi salam. I referred them to this. And he still didn't want to listen to it. Because they come in the masjid not for prayer. They are paid to come because of the Salibi, the Salibiyin, or crusaders in English, who are running the masjids, who are doing things inside the masjid. They bring these people in there. I want to see my brothers in there. I only see them in Ramadan. Everybody stays out of the masjid today because of this thing. One of the old friends I had way back is almost 10. I hope he's still alive. Last time I saw him was about 6 years ago. I saw him by accident. One day I was in the city, and the Medina and Arabic language, where we have a lot of the center is where you have big places where you can shop and so forth and so on, to buy groceries, vegetables and so forth and so on. He came up to me, and I hadn't seen him in years. And he told me why he stays out of the masjid now, because of this type of stuff like this. And they drove him out of the masjid too, because he was doing the same thing. And he saw what was going on. He saw even the imam, because he said, I don't know who these imam are today. I don't know who they are. He said, they didn't go to any schooling I know of. He said, if they were trained, he said, where did they were trained? I don't know. So they drove him out. And the point is here, the point is different in matters pertaining to Aqidah. We have some of this is not permitted because the Aqidah is established by textual proofs. Again, when you come, the Prophet ﷺ said, you pray as I pray. You give the takbir, you give twice, because the imam, you follow him, and he's down in prostration. See, and so this old man who was next to me wants to tell me I'm not going to follow that. I said, I'm not talking about you follow me. I'm not giving you something from my own whims. I'm giving you proof from the Prophet ﷺ. And I'm giving you what the scholars of every era. I'm giving you something from Bab Salat, telling you how to do the Salat. And this old man, older than me, he rejected that. As for the fiqh regulations, derived judgments and rulings, then those who are capable and worthy from scholars will derive what you see to be most correct. If we have a difference of opinion, we have scholars on the ground who do this, but this is very hard because many of them, you do not see them today because they're basically under house arrest. So this is I'm giving a little bit more of this, the Sunnah, Nabi, and those who supported by proofs, then it was followed and the saying was accepted. Those will leave off their own opinions. This is the way. Okay, again, I'm not going to go to the Salat and then start to innovate. I will not do that. When I talked to you the other day about the corrections of the Adhan, especially for Salat to Fajr, there's no such thing as a good innovation. When you innovate that, I don't care if it sounds good or not, but there's no dua, something in the middle of it and another dua at the end of it. It is not, because why? The Nabi ﷺ wanted to give the people enough warning. It's time to come inside the masjid. It's not to be prolonged with the people, because you are ordered to listen to it and act upon its words. If someone is giving the adhan, and he's giving it for almost 10-15 minutes, that delays you. You're sitting there listening to him as he innovates so now you're waiting, and after he finished, now you have to go make your wudu, you have to do this, and then you have to go to the prayer. So this is what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. This is what we're talking about. So now you have this, and go over this again at your leisure, and so forth and so on, and whatnot. And please be careful. But we have to go back to this, brothers and sisters. This is part of the groups here. And one of them Shia. You stay away from the Shia groups. Now, there are some that are closer to Sunnah than the others. And we know that. And we have that. We talked about that. There's some others. I want to give you something about some of these other groups here. Now, so you can understand something. The Shia has 22 different groups. These are branches within the Shia itself. The Khawarij has 20. The Murji'a has 5. See, and goes all the way down the line. Why, again, we talk about the issue of the 73, the 72, because they have different branches. One may sound better than the other. He may not use some of the stuff from the Khawarij, but we have groups who are part of all of this. We have groups today. I give you an example of that. Is it one group I know in particular who've adopted the Shia way of, which is adultery, has never been approved. We call it Muta. Muta is a way that the Shia got away from the Sunnah and away from adultery or infidelity and whatnot. They're saying, okay, I'm walking down the street, I see a beautiful girl, Muslim woman, and so forth and so on. I go to her, and I have lust for her. She looks at me, she likes me too. So we have a quick marriage only so we can have sexual relations for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Once our desires are filled, then we divorce. This is part of the Shia. Many of their sects believe this and they operate under that. It's called Muta. We have many of the Sunnah leave Sunnah because their desires are greater than their faith. They go to Shia because in Shia, they can have this Muta, is what it's called, where I can go see a girl in the city and I want to have sex with her. I go make a quick marriage with her and have sex with her for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then after we're finished, then we divorce. This is what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. This is a lot of stuff that's out there today, and you have to be very careful of it. Very, very careful. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got my cousin here. We'll see what he says. I'm doing on this, the Quran. And yes, he had nothing to do with these sects. He didn't. Yes, and only when we said this is where we have interpretation by many of our scholars talked about the same sect. They call it the deviant Mansura. This is what we're talking about, and a lot of our scholars have said this is going to be from the Mahdi when he comes, that his group will be this deviant Mansura. They're going to be, they'll be so pious, and many believe that this is going to be it. But today we don't have any groups who be classified as deviant Mansura. But in the past, the Messina, even Usman bin Fodio, when he had his sultanate and so forth in Messina, the great Pulo, in that we have many who were literally part of this. They did the best of their way and knowledge to be part of the deviant Mansura with piety. This is why I love my Fulani Muslim ancestors a lot. I'm not going to their grave sites to worship. Whoever wrote that in Facebook, I just ignored it because no one ever heard me say that. I never told anyone to go to grave worship. And I never told anyone to worship them. But we as Muslims is no different. You give your dua, you give the dua for those who, the Sahaba, they passed on. We give our dua. You can give your dua for your Muslim ancestors too. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't go to the grave and do grave worship. That's what the guy was trying to accuse me of. It's funny, isn't it? Because I don't do things like that. I know better than that. This is shirk billah. Because people who go to grave worship, they're asking their ancestor to intercede for them in the heavens. I never authorized that. I never said that because I know it's wrong. It's shirk billah. So that, I had to say that. Okay, where we got, my sister, how you doing? Linda, how you doing? Thank you very much for showing up today. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, my dear sister. Thank you. So, brothers and sisters, we have the interplay between the 73 sects in Islam and the 77 traits. Now, to also lead you to the right path, I gave a short video talking about the 77 traits. I did a class on this almost, they said, I was told 3 years ago, on the 77 traits of faith. You should follow that. If you look at many of those traits, if you look at Pulaku, you'll find many of those traits in there. You'll find that. Very interesting. There's 77 traits of faith. This coincides with the 73. If you look at the 77 traits and become familiar, you'll see the 72 groups, they have deviancy in some of these traits. Our scholars have said that you should be proficient in majority of them. And they gave a formula for this. But because of the day's time, of the dunya is so hard on Muslims. When you see the 77 traits, you should try to do your best. Even if you can only master 5 of them, you try to do the best you can. And you should understand the traits of faith. You should understand those 77 traits. It gives the Muslim ample evidence to stay away from deviant groups like the Shia, like the Morjia, like the Khawarij, all these groups. So this is something, brothers and sisters, that should help you. There's no excuse today of not knowing which Islamic group is based upon the Sunnah and the others are not. If you have any knowledge of anything, the group inside the masjid that followed the Salibiyin from the embassies is these innovators. They will pay you to follow their misguidance and innovations. They'll tell you, and I even had arguments years back with some of the people who work with the Tubab. They'll come to me and tell me that their group is the deviant Mansura. I laughed at them. I said, how can it be when you're working from a guy from the embassy he's not even a Muslim? And he is not part of the deviant Mansura. You have to be a pious, devout Muslim. The guys coming out of the embassy are not devout Muslims. They are liars. They come in and portray themselves of that. I had one out in front of my house here yesterday talking crazy. But, you know, we have rules. Now, if I come outside, I told you I'm worried about, and he come over after me. Now, you know, it's on. You know, it's on. You know, I'm from Compton, California originally. It's on. But when I'm inside my house, I let him talk. He was talking all kinds of stuff about I was this, I was that. I let him talk. Because he see me out. He knows when I go out there to feed the dogs and the cats. He know when I go take my walk. If he want to deal with me, he come out there. When I'm out there, he knows I'm out here gardening and so forth and so on. I do this almost every morning. See? So if he wants to deal with me, he can. But we have rules, brothers and sisters. Just because of this, I don't go out there to fight the guy. Let him talk. He can say whatever he wants. But if he comes to put his hands on me, that's different. He come in my face, that's a different situation. And then I'll be ready to deal with him. And he knows that. I will deal with him. But let him out there to talk, that's fine. Let them talk. The saved sect is a popular thing being fought by the enemies. Today, this is why the Salibi is in the masjids. They go to look for people who espouse to be under the deviant Mansura. They fight them. And again, brothers and sisters, this Jamaat that they call Fulani Muslim, they even call their group, you hear them talk, the brothers in the group here. I said, what brothers you talking about? Brothers of faith? These guys are not Fulani Muslimin. They're part of the Salibiyin, Harb Salibiyah. This is what we call this in fiqh. Harb Salibiyah, meaning the Crusader War against the Muslims. There's no Fulani Muslimin within the Salibiyin, the Harb Salibiyah. It's none. The saved sect is not working with the Salibiyin, the Tubab out of the embassy. That's not the saved sect. It's not. Our ancestors under Messina, Usman Den Fodio, the great Pulo, and all the other great sultanates we had out of Takur, and so forth and so on. Even some of the sultanates we had in Al-Maghrib where I live today, we have people close to the deviant Mansura. They were not crusaders. They did not worship and fight Muslims to be fighting them, to take them from the straight path. So we have to be very careful of that. And again, I had gotten the feedback, people, I even got a hold of YouTube because I was told many people said that the program's preempted. They went back to try to run to find my video. You couldn't find it. I complained to YouTube. And again, we go back to the same issue. The Salibi said, I'm the most ignorant person in this country, in Morocco. They said, I can't read and write. And I always, when I have arguments with some of these guys, I said, well, why you, if you said I'm so stupid, ignorant, you let an ignorant man talk. But I also asked them, I said, look, I know what you're doing. What Muslim does this? Before he leaves, he puts a masquerade to hide his true appearance. Where is that in the Quran and Sunnah? So that way he can leave his house to come and commit crimes in the masjid and outside the masjid. So he cannot be detected. This is from the embassies. Which niyyah does he have to go to the masjid? He's putting on a masquerade, false beard, maybe something on his hair, and a kufi, so he can disguise himself. Where did he get that from? He showed me the ayats in the Quran that authorized this. He showed me from the hadiths, the sahih hadiths, that you can do this. Show me in Bab Salat the shows that you can make in trickery and trickery and treachery and hypocrisy before you make your salat. Somebody show me that. You can't. The Shia is one amongst classified by scholars of all eras as a deviant group who have disobeyed the Sunnah. You see students now trying to tell our brothers and sisters, don't get caught in the emotions, what you see today in the war. Yes, we want to see Israel spanked because they've been killing, and now they're fighting somebody who's fighting them back. Our brothers in Gaza don't have the weaponry to fight them back. That's why Israel can do the things they can do, because it's easy. It's like a turkey shoot. They can sit there, and it's a small circle there. They can shoot, and they have nothing to shoot back. Now they got somebody like Iran who's shooting back and causing a hell of a lot of damage. But on the same token, now many of our students and others are getting, even in the United States, get on the YouTube trying to advise caution. Don't jump ship from the Sunnah and jump ship and talking about you want to be Shia. You be very careful of that, because if you look at the scholarship, they telling you, our scholars of old tell us, even our Nabi alayhi salam talked about issue like this. You do not join them. See? And stay away from any group. They created different books that rival the Quran. The Shia has done that. You stay away from the groups. The Shia also created a hadith that rivals the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salam. These are not the word of subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are word of men. That's why you stay away from these groups, brothers and sisters. The Shia, the Morshia, the Mutazila, all of these deviant groups, stay away from them. I've given you evidence. It's on you. If you want to join these type of groups, you can. If you want to leave Sunnah and you want to be Shia because you want to be able to do Muta, Muta again is organized sexual relations, meaning you go find girl, you go marry her for 2 weeks, have sex with her, divorce her, and 3 weeks later you find another girl, you go and do this. If you want to do that type of stuff, go join the Shia. You can do that. We're not authorized under Sharia law to do that. But under their Sharia, you can do it. See, so just be careful, brothers and sisters. And I talked about their prayers, they differ. Again, brothers and sisters, this secret group that goes to the masjid here, follow the Salihin in there. Don't pray as they pray. Learn the Bab Salat, how to pray correctly. You see somebody praying differently, don't follow that. If you do not know, you err on side caution and go to a student knowledge and pull up the information. Or you look at the tapes. We have many now show you how to pray. In YouTube, there's give you live instructions showing you what happens when you come inside the masjid and you see the imam down in prostration. He even shows you what you should do. Don't follow these idiots that I talked to yesterday in the masjid. This old man who's older than me and these others who basically swears, no, you just do one and then you go down into prostration. The other says, no, you stand up and wait for the imam to finish this particular rak'ah. No, brothers and sisters, this is what we're talking about. No, you do not follow that. See? And these deviant groups can lead you to the fire, because you will be examined, brothers and sisters, on your knowledge. You have to gain knowledge. It could lead you to that. That's why my best advice to you now is you go to a student of knowledge and follow him. Stay away from all these Islamic groups. They're everywhere. In Morocco, Algeria, they're in Los Angeles, California. You stay away from all of these groups. That's why you notice the famous of our and our even our great scholars like in northern Nigeria, so forth and so on. They don't have a Jamaat Islamiyah because it's too easy to get corrupted. It's not time for it right now. So they stay alone or they stay in a group among themselves. See? And then they have students who listen and follow them. This is, I agree with them. This is best for you. But you join the big Islamic groups where they have hundreds and thousands of people in it. Stay away from that. Most of them are corrupted. They are infiltrated by those from the embassy, infiltrated by the hypocrites. And they go in there and they start making innovations and they start doing things to get the particular group in trouble. Stay away from that. That's why you never see me in any of these Islamic groups. Never. You have the Salaf groups. I won't join them. You have the Tasawwuf. I won't join those. They have other quote unquote Jamaat Islamiyah. I won't join those either. I try to follow students of knowledge and those of the Sheikh Islam. I follow their teachings and so forth and so on. This is what I follow. I don't join these groups. I refuse because they have innovations in them. Be very careful, brothers and sisters. That's why your elder, I'm giving you this advice. In modern times, my recommendations, again, is to find a scholar and learn from him. Don't join the Islamic groups. Stay away from them, brothers and sisters. And not only that, the governments are after a lot of these groups because they don't want to see them operate. And that's why it's best to stay out of that at this time. Because as long as the Salibi, the Crusader governments are still in control of our countries, this is going to be a problem. And they're going to infiltrate these groups. So when you go to the masjid like I did yesterday for Salat al-Asr, you see all this innovation in it. Because they want you to leave from it. Because they know you're not going to follow that. That old punk, old man, yes, they thought I'm going to follow what he's, after I gave him the proof, he refused. No. And this is what we're talking about. See, so you get to a good student of knowledge or scholar or somebody and follow that. Whether it be on YouTube or in a classroom, there are many students of knowledge equipped to aid you. This is what we talk about, brothers and sisters. You don't understand the Salat. There's a lot of things. Even sometimes I have to go back and refresh because I forget. I'm older now too, and I forget. And I have people ask me these questions. And I had some young brothers did come to me before. And, you know, like even yesterday when I walked out, somebody asked me a question about that and told me, they said, yes, I understand what you're saying. He said, my father told me the same thing one time, but I forgot. See, he told me straight out. But he was distancing himself from those guys inside there who refused. See, so, and those are the issues. And many of the Islamic groups don't touch the issues of fiqh. See, this is why you stay away from that. Because how are you going to learn, brothers and sisters, if you come in the masjid and you're late, okay? And it happens. You're late. You're coming from work and you're getting ready to make Salat Maghrib, which is 3 rakats. You come and the imam is in the second one. And he's down in the prostration. You come to the line, you see all the brothers in the first, second, third line. So you come to the third line, there's an opening there, you come there. You stand there and watch. This is what this guy was trying to tell me yesterday. The other one says, no, you give one takbir and then you proceed. It's almost laughable. See, so this is what we have here. And you, please, brothers and sisters, please take it from your elder. Please be careful. Especially listed groups who are deviant. I gave you the list. I'll show it again. These are many. And stay away from those who claim to be they're part of the Democratic Party. I'm the National Islamic Democratic Committee. What is that? Somebody show me. Show me that the Nabi authorized such verbiage. And we see them in Nigeria, you see them in Ghana, you see them everywhere. You stay away from those groups. The great scholars of old, if you look at our ancestors and you read what they did, they always followed the Prophet ﷺ, even to the T. When they wrote a letter to another Muslim, they had the title, which is Bismillah Rahman Rahim. You hear me always recite that. The best of us do that because our Prophet ﷺ, he did this. And then you go into the body of your letter according to the way the Prophet ﷺ did. From Yahya Shabka ila Muhammad, so that's okay. From me to Muhammad, and then you give your spiel. And if you give credit to the Quran, then you use this issue of fiqh. I'm just going to give you a little bit of this. When you at the Islamic writing, after you've given the praises of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then you give the praises of the Prophet ﷺ, then you give your letter, your body letter going to Muhammad, say he's in another city. Now you want to get proofs of the topic that you want to talk. Now you conclude that paragraph with Amabat. That's the issue again. I'm just giving you this, the good guidance. If you want to follow the correct way, even if I write a letter, I'm going to do that. That's the way I always do. If you look at me on Facebook, you see things when I wrote in Arabic language, you see me always with Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Why? Because this is what our Prophet did. I follow that. My suggestions to you in northern Nigeria, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, follow him. You follow these great scholars we have there in northern Nigeria. They are closest to those of our ancestral scholars of the Messina and the Pulo and some of the other great sultanates. Follow those great men. Sheikh Bala, there's Sheikh, I can't think the brother's name. I saw him yesterday. I have great admiration for him. There's many of them. And you follow them and get your Islam from them. But stay away from these democratic national Islamic group or the Republican this, that, Islamic this and that. Stay away from these, or this progressive, we're the Islamic Progressive Party. Stay away from that. They don't even have nothing to do with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They have nothing to do with the Nabi alayhi salam, and they're deviant because they are talking about governance that is not authorized by Allah and by the Messenger. What did the Prophet alayhi say? And what did Subhanahu wa Ta'ala say? If there's something that you differ, you always take it to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and you take it to the Nabi alayhi salam. If I have a question and I go to this man over here and I ask him about the governance, he tell me no, democratic ways and means is authorized under the Quran and Sunnah. I've had that happen. I said, well, where did you find that? Oh, I'll get back to you and so forth. I waited. 2 weeks later, I saw him again. I said, why you didn't get back to me, brother? You said that it was authorized. I said, you show me. He couldn't because there's no authorization. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, Khair Hakamiyah. His rulings, his judgment is best. Democratic, Republican, communist, all this is man-made. We're not authorized. Okay, brothers and sisters, now as you see here, I've given you this. Again, brothers and sisters, please, okay, please, brothers and sisters, learn these groups. You have today, many of them have mixed, okay, so they're not all Mutazila. They're not all Shia. They are mixed with some with Shia Akida. Some have mixed Khawarij with Morjia. Either Morjia is part of the Khawarij, but they broke away from the Khawarij, but they are mixed. They have some of the traits of the Khawarij, but they also have beliefs of the Morjia. See? And so you learn these groups to better protect you, because if you learn them, then it best protects you, because when they come around you, you won't be swayed by them. When somebody from the Shia come to you, say, look, if you join the Shia, I know you, I see you looking at that one beautiful Muslim over here. If you join us, you can go to her and you guys can have a quick marriage and you can have sexual relations with her for 3 weeks. And we call it Muta. And we have brothers who jump ship because they want to live in sin like this. And when you ask them about this, they can never give you proofs because there's none. You talk to the Khawarij, you see them inside the masjids, you see them wearing long beards. Some even wear a turban, others wear a kufi, others dress as though they're in the 18th century. But then you find out he's after a group of strong Muslims over here. And then when you ask him about the deviancy that he sees out there in the street, you see people drinking, you see people smoking, he don't touch them. He doesn't say nothing to them. And he goes and lines himself with the Salibiyin or the El Harbi. This is what we talk about the Khawarij. They fight the Muslimin and they leave the disbelievers alone. And those who are running outside of Allah, they leave them alone. They only concentrate on the people who are trying to work and become part of the deviant Mansura, the saved sect. They try to perfect their religion. That's who they fight. See, so please be familiar with these groups. Do your research on these groups, brothers and sisters. So when somebody come to you to bring you to some sect of some sort, especially in Muslim lands today, we have these secret societies who they call themselves Fulani Muslim, but they're actually working for the disbelievers out of the embassy. And they'll come to you to get you indoctrinated into their program. They'll even pay you. So when you come in the masjid and you see them innovating in the salat, they'll say, hey man, look, this is the way we do it here. This is the right way to do the salat. You will know better because you have now done your research. You know Bab Salat. You know that what they're doing is innovation. When you come in the morning and you see Salat Fajr, suddenly they give a quasi dua kunut in between the first and second rakats. This is an innovation and misguidance. You don't follow that. But if you have no knowledge, you follow that. And I have that. You see people today follow that. And also one of the famous ones is this misguidance is after the prayer is finished. We see this happening everywhere today. The prayer is finished and suddenly the imam gives a blanket dua everybody has to follow. This is an innovation. The Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam never did this. We go to the proofs. He never made the group stay there and just open dua after the prayer. You just got through praying. You just made your rakats and you were praying before subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why would you need to end your prayer and make another dua or something to ask subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Nabi alayhi salatu never done that. Our companions in the three favorite generations never done that. You look at the scholars of old, they never do that. You look at the Fulani scholars of old out of Timbuktu and those of the Messina, they never followed that type of misguidance. See? So you have been warned, brothers and sisters, and I'm giving you this evidence, but you choose. You see the war going on today. If you choose, you say you're going to support the Shia. I understand what you said, but you have to clarify what you mean by support. Yes, you want them to win. Yes, I want them to win. But making obeisances to them, you cannot. Making talking jihad, no, you cannot. Joining their groups, you cannot. Please be careful. Got one person here. Okay. My cousin here. I believe there's a sect that also believed that the prophet's cousin was also. Yes, that's part of the Shia that they believed that Ali Radwan that he was a prophet and so forth and so on. Again, brothers and sisters, these are the deviations that you should be made aware of, and please stay from them because this is a serious issue that you have to have your knowledge about that. And you should be very made aware of that. Just like me, if I tell you about the salat, don't listen to what I say. You go and verify my information. Okay, you see what I'm saying? If you said, well, I'm not sure because I've been doing this all this time and I watch this man, I see this old man, this is what he do. Do your research. Go to Bab Salat. Or you put that question to many of the scholars and ask them, you ask them, and there's many. And we got great students now. You ask them, say, hey, look, I come inside the masjid, I see the imam, he's down in the prostration. What do I do when I come to the line? Do I wait for him to finish or do I proceed to prostration? And what do I do? They'll tell you straight out. You give 2 takbir in English translation. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Then you proceed to go to join the imam down in prostration. This is the correct way. And you should investigate this to make sure when you're not sure and get your proofs. So when you come to the masjid, when you see a whole bunch of misguidance, you don't follow that. One of the things I get ready to close of the misguidance you see today, I've talked to many of these guys before. Some listened, others didn't. I come inside the masjid, okay, because I make my nafila and stuff inside the house. I'm close enough to the masjid, and I like to do that. And that's another issue. I've talked about this before in my classes about this issue. I make my nafila inside the house. I proceed on to the masjid, and I usually catch them on time. Sometimes I may miss the first. I come in, the imam is already sometimes in the first, going towards the second rakat. There's people standing in the back here making their nafila, or they're making their tahiyyat, the masjid, meaning their greetings to the masjid. They're doing that back there while the imam is conducting fard prayer. These type of innovations is what I'm talking about. I went to many of them. Most of them, I would say, they did not know. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. And they were very, they were very, very grateful for that. Others, because they are so close to the Salibi, they were not going to listen to that. Because they belong to this secret group who are paid to come to the masjid, and they listen to the Salibi against the Crusaders who come out of the masjid. They listened to them. They told him, no, this is what you do. If you want to do this inside the masjid, you can. That's not the way the Prophet ﷺ. And you look at every generation and look at the scholars of old. You look at the Bab Salat, even in Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah or Halim Halal. Look at him. He's got to talk about that. We got many, many great scholars, and look at what they said. Tirmidhi is one of my favorite. That's why I call him Sheikh Salat, to be funny, because he has a whole section about Salat, and in there covers these areas like that. You can really learn if you get the Sunnah Tirmidhi. You go get his books. There's 5 volumes. Read, especially Bab Salat. Bab Salat, English means Bab of prayer. And you look at what he had to say about issues like this. You follow that because he's got it straight from the Prophet ﷺ. You don't follow the Salibi and these others in the masjid who tell you, no, you can do this. You can make your nafila while the imam is doing the fard prayer. Or no, you don't. You can come to the line and wait until after the imam is finished. Then you give your takbir. You don't listen to these guys. These will send you to the fire because you're listening to something, and you have to have the knowledge to fight them off, brothers and sisters. You must have the knowledge to fight them off. I've had them come to me to tell me things in there that's not right. Just like yesterday, those idiots tried to tell me that what they were doing was correct and it was wrong. And I gave them the proof. They didn't want to listen to it. They didn't want to listen to it. And I said, this is the way the Prophet prayed. Look at what this sheikh had to say about this. They didn't care about that. Because they were not there for worship. They were there because they were paid to come. They were there to watch and to spy on Muslims for the Salibi. Because their religion is Harb Salibiyah. This is what we call that. This is the Crusader War against the Muslimin in English translation. So they're there to corrupt the Salat, to misguide the people. And this is what we talk about many times before, brothers and sisters. You have to understand your religion and understand it as best to your knowledge. But I would cling to a good student of knowledge or a scholar is Islam. We have them everywhere now. And you learn from him. This is your best. Stay out of these Jamaat Islamiyah, because you may join some Jamaat, some Islamic group. I said it in Arabic, but some Islamic group, and you'll find out it's being run by the Tubab out of the embassy. So do you think that they're going to follow the Sunnah of the Nabi alayhi salam? No, they're not. They're going to innovate. They'll do some things to trap you, but other things they will not. You stay away from these groups, because they can also lead you into the jail. They can also lead you to other things too, to other deviancy that you need to avoid. You won't catch me in any Islamic group. I don't join them. I don't go to their meetings. I have nothing to do with any of them. I don't care if the Salaf or the Soaf, any of these groups, I have nothing to do with them. See, have nothing to do with them. I would advise you to do the same at this time. You in Northern Nigeria, you get a hold of Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, you follow him. Especially if you speak the Hausa language, you follow him. Sheikh Bala, all of these beautiful scholars like this, you follow them. Muftis, you follow those guys. Inside the United States, they have a lot of them too that are brilliant. And you follow them and learn your religion from them. Don't try to go to the Islamic groups, brothers. Stay away from them, okay? Please stay away from them at this time. They can get you in trouble. Stay away from them. And you want to preserve yourself. If the government is mad and says, I don't want people joining these groups, even at this time, you obey the ruler. You obey him. Because he has a reason why he doesn't want you to join in there. And he says, I don't want you joining demonstrations because I didn't give you authority. We have talked about issues like this before. And some of the scholars have given you their guidance on this. And how many have you heard? They join the Islamic group and they go on a demonstration. But inside their group are provocateurs who are there designed to create a havoc so the government will come after this group. So they go to a demonstration and one of these deviant guys, that's his job. He runs over to a policeman and hits him. How many you heard of this? Or one of these deviant guys will go, he'll get a rock or a brick and throw it through a store window. The police react and begin to go after this Islamic group, all women and everybody, and start beating everybody. Because it's provocateur. That's why I told you, stay away. If there's a demonstration out there, brothers and sisters, the first thing you ask is, who authorized this? Who authorized it? You don't see me out there. You won't see me. Because I have many questions to ask. Who's authorizing this? Who's leading? See? So all this, brothers and sisters, to give you these food of thought so that it can help you and so forth and so on. I know a lot of people will be upset with talks like this, but I have to give this to you because I wanted to give this to you to help you and to guide you. It's important, brothers and sisters, because I'm your elder. I'm going to give you this. You take it and you do your research on that. And again, don't let anybody, I don't care if he's a black African who's sitting in front of your face telling you something, when you go and say, I want to learn about Usman Den Fodio. I want to learn about Sultan Sowadi of Messina. I want to learn about Sultan Jallo of the Messina. And he tried to tell you, no, don't go and look there, because if you look over here, that's grave worshiping or ancestor worshiping. Don't listen to that. Because he would not talk to you if you start talking about the great Greek methodology. He wouldn't say nothing to you. But the minute you start talking about your African ancestors, you talk about the great Fulani scholars of Timbuktu, Ahmed Baba Sudani, for instance. and others. I gave, you see my videos. I gave the short video with the Quran in the background. I gave a list of the names of some of those great Fulani scholars. They'll tell you now you're deviant. And you got to wonder if these guys are provocateurs. So, okay, brothers and sisters, I want to thank all those who showed up today. And again, like I said, please be careful out there. Please stay away from all of these groups. Please, brothers and sisters, stay away from all of these Islamic groups. I would advise you not to join them. Get familiar with these deviant groups here. Today, many of them are not all the way Mu'tazila. They're not all the way that. Some are mixed. Some of them have Khawarij characteristics. Some have Morjia mixed in it. So today, you're going to find some of these groups, they're mixed. They have many ideologies mixed into one. They're not pure Shia, or they're not pure Khawarij, or they're not pure Morjia number 4. See? So you should be familiar with these guys, so that way you don't get in trouble. When they come to you with their deviancy, you'll be able to fight them off. And one of the great parts of the deviancy is the masjids, introducing innovations, because they know that the cornerstone of Islam is the worshiping in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Salibi concentrates on that. Why he goes in and tries to create as much havoc and division inside the masjids. He tries everything to introduce innovations in there. That's why he comes to the masjid in a masquerade. He covers his, he puts a false face on his, so he can't be identified. He puts many of the mujrimeen also, so that way they can commit crimes against you in the masjid, and he can get away with it because he's got false face on, a false beard, a false hair, and so forth and so on. All of these type of groups like this, these secret societies, they're not Fulani Muslimin. When you hear these deviant guys talk like this, they're not Fulani Muslimin, because they are fighting the Sunnah. They're not that. Please, brothers and sisters, be familiar with these groups. Please be familiar with these groups and understand what Nabi alayhi salam said about these 72 different groups, and the favorite one, which is the Da'ifatun Mansura that we know today, and they said is coming. And I believe the word of our Nabi, it is coming. But you try to strive towards that. Don't be so quick to join an Islamic group, because you may join a Islamic group and their Aqidah is number 1, or their Aqidah is number 4, or their Aqidah is number 7. And now you're in trouble. You have just joined a deviant group, and you don't even know how to, because you don't have enough knowledge. My suggestion is to get behind a good student of knowledge or scholar and learn, because once you begin to learn, you'll be able to smell through these guys when they come to you. You'll be able to smell the innovation when somebody from these Salafi groups or these Tasawwuf, the Sufi groups come to you. Not saying they're bad people. That's not what I meant to say. We have innovations. And when they try to get you to innovate, you'll be armed. And you'll know what the Nabi said about these misguidance and innovations can lead you to the fire. So brothers and sisters, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this talk today. If you did, please subscribe. My talks are long because I have a lot of information to give you, and you go over it and you look at it and you make your judgments, and then you start doing your research. I gave you something today about the masjid because it's important, brothers and sisters. Very important. There's a lot of deviancy going inside the masjids today. And when you talk to a brother and you see a guy come into the masjid, and then you in the line here, and you watch him hit another man in the masjid. See, we have that today. You know, and he's working secretly under the Harb Salibiyya, which I've already went over. And he's there to go after certain people to drive them from the mess, especially the older, wiser scholars of Islam. They're a lot of times are being beaten inside the masjids to drive them out of it. See, from these secret groups that they have. So please be careful out there, brothers and sisters. Please be careful. Watch yourself and your family. And you brothers and sisters, one more thing, brothers and sisters, you have impressionable daughters and sons. They're vulnerable to these mystery groups that I show here. It's incumbent upon you to teach them the right way so they don't succumb to these groups. I'll give you one more thing before I leave here. I know one group here, some way back here, before I even came here to Morocco. Beautiful young girl, beautiful. Well, one of these guys was part of the Shia. He began to indoctrinate her because her parents were very weak in Islam. They were living in America, and you know how it is. They were working hard to feed the family. They didn't have time to read the Quran. They didn't have time to teach their children. They just gave them the basics. When this guy kept talking to talking to her more and more and more and more, without supervision of adult, what you shouldn't even have a conversation right here. He got to her and says, look, we have marriage if you come to join the Shia. So she didn't know. When her parents didn't understand what was going on because they're so busy, when she was gone 2, 3, 4 days, they didn't know what happened. She finally came home and she explained that I was told you can do this. And they said, what do you mean? I married this boy for 3 days. They said, what? And you gave yourself to this man? I was married to him. See? This young girl of 19 just gave her virginity and everything up under Muta. This guy was Shia because her parents have never trained her. She didn't have no knowledge. She thought she was doing okay. She married this guy for a couple of days. He got what he wanted and they divorced. She came home after the 3rd day. Her parents was going crazy. They didn't know what happened to her. And when she said she was involved in Muta, I can imagine if I was inside the house, the father and mother, what they had to say. But they never had time to teach their daughter the right Islam. And because of that, their daughter went on a 3-day sexual escapade, misadventure with a man who said he was from the Shia and said he was authorized under Muta. She believed it. And he divorced her days later after he got what he wanted. She had to come home. This is what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. So please be mindful of that. Train your daughters and your sons to the right path so they don't succumb to situations, especially our daughters. Please, brothers and sisters, I hold this on you, brother. You, the man of the house. Subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the title. You train your family. Be sure that you're open. So if your son comes to you to start asking questions, don't throw him off. Your daughter comes to ask questions because she's confused about something like this. Daddy, I admit something, this boy's been talking to me at McDonald's almost every day when I go get ice cream and so forth and so on. He's telling me about Muta. You be open, let your children come talk to you. Then you guide them accordingly. You say, daughter, you should not be talking to this boy. And Muta is not authorized under Islam. Well, he said he's from the Shia. This is what it's not authorized. So you can correct your daughter. You got to do that, brothers and sisters. You got these children there. You must get enough knowledge to protect them. It's your job. Okay, brother, sister, with that said, I must end here. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wabarakatuh.